Oh man. All right, we are live now.
Word.
See this. Get all your burps and giggles out, John.
You didn't say anything about farts. So I reserve the right to use those during the podcast.
And yep, that's
Speaking of Austin Dillon, I tease. What's so damn funny?
you didn't say anything about farts.
Yep. You didn't.
All right. Hang out. Talk all things. All right. Okay. We're gonna mute that. All right, you ready?
Show enough.
Going off. Oh, so all right, okay. And welcome back to Dropping the Hammer with Dan McFadden. I'm Dan McFadden, ready to talk all things NASCAR, Watkins Glen International Raceway. It's not a raceway. It's just Watkins Glen International. Why am I doing that? Anyway, and with me, as always, is John LaFollette. John, Watkins Glen, what was it the best race of the year?
No, it wasn't. I mean, well, sorry to sound like I turned the punch bowl in that. Not to say it wasn't a good race. I really enjoyed this race. It was not the best race of the year, though. Although I get what you're referring to with the Jeff Gluck poll. It's the same deal with Rotten Tomatoes. Like Rotten Tomatoes is not a 0 to 10 scale. It's just an up or down. Like, is it good? Is it bad? And excuse me. Rotten Tomatoes used to also show like the average score, and they got rid of it. And that really bothers me because I always looked at that in addition to the overall score. They would show like an average rating like 8.6 or like 6.5 or whatever. So I feel like this Watkins Glen race would get like a 7 for me, 7.5.
Really, just a 7? Okay,
7.5. Like I liked it. I don't even know. I don't know if this will be like. I don't know if this is one of the 10 best races of the year.
It's definitely in the top 10.
Stages 1 and 2 were great, and stage 3 really kind of just did not live up to the hype of 1 and 2. I know that the ending was chaotic. We can talk about that here in a second, but the third, I just remember just sitting there watching the third stage, and like halfway through, I was like, something feels different here, and I don't know what happened, but part of me just wished that the rain would have come back and they would have had to put on wet tires and just have all chaos. And then we've got Michael McDowell or somebody else who hasn't won a race yet, getting this or something. And but long answer to your very short question. No, not the best race.
Okay. All right. I'd give it an 8, at least an 8.5. That's personally. But yeah, Kyle Larson won. He defended his win at Watkins Glen International by winning Sunday's race at the Go Bowling at the Glen, which I want to send Watkins Glen a note saying, please change your race names. I hate it's been like this for years. It's been like this since I think NASCAR went back to Watkins Glen in '86. It's whatever sponsor at the Glen, and it does not roll off the tongue at all.
It sounds like it sounds like a retirement home when you call it the Glen.
Yeah, it's like you should be saying like the estates or manor.
Yeah, the estates of the Glen, the manor at the Glen. It's just, yeah, it sounds like, they're like, there's the senior PGA, like if there's like a senior NASCAR circuit with like Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty and Jeff Burton and Clint Boyer and all the old retired heads, all the old geezers. I just named them because they were on TV. The only ones I could think off the top of my head. But it just sounds like the Glen sounds like something like a senior NASCAR circuit would do. Like, isn't it cute that these old folks can still go fast?
Well, they used to have one of those series like back in like late '80s, early '90s. It wasn't really a series per se, but they had like legends races or whatever, like on the quarter mile at Charlotte. They would do that.
I think you're mistaking that for SRX. I don't know if you've heard of that, but no. So here's my question for you, and I don't know if I really have an answer because I've kind of been. I knew we were going to talk about this on the podcast, but do you think Kyle Larson did anything wrong?
Nope. No,
I don't either.
No.
Now, does Chase Elliott have a right to be upset? Both. We could both agree on this. Like, just because Kyle Larson didn't do anything wrong, Chase Elliott could still have a reason to be upset.
Chase Elliott has lost so many races, like at the last minute, like that, and most often he's like, oh, I hate it for my guys and whatnot. But this is the second time it's happened between him and Larson. But the first time was at Auto Club, but that was truly just an accident. Like,
right.
Larson just went up to the right, not knowing he wasn't clear, and clipped Chase. Here, it's the freaking 5 laps to go. It's the restart. It's a road course on a tight right-handed turn. Larson hasn't won since that race at Auto Club. Like, who cares if the guy to your left's your teammate? Go, right. Just go. He locked up the brakes, drifted up into Elliott, forced him onto the runoff. Larson takes off. It's a racing thing. There was no malice in it. It was just it's time to go, and we're in this position. And Larson said he's not proud of it, but it felt like it was my only opportunity, and he took it. So, I mean, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I agree. It's just one of those racing incidents. And I mean, they clearly showed on the replay where Larson's tire was not moving as they were going into the turn. Like, it was clearly locked up. And also, I was just wondering, I mean, and this was brought up on the post-race broadcast. I'm not even sure if Larson was puzzled by the Sonata. He might have referred to it as such, but like, why did Elliott take the outside lane?
I'd have to go back and look at the other restarts to see if that's the same lane that he took.
Yeah, because like, it seems so innocuous when it doesn't, when it's a restart or whatever at a point in the race where it's not crunch time, where it's not getting to go time.
I mean, I'm just now thinking about this, but like, anyone who's on the outside does have the runoff in turn 1. That is an advantage.
That's true.
If you get off that, you can just go full bore. Like, if you're on the inside, you have to try to avoid the guy to your left. If you're in that outside lane, you don't have to worry about anyone there. Well, you technically shouldn't. Someone might should just come out of nowhere, like, what the heck? But yeah, it is. Yeah, having that runoff there is an advantage. So that's probably why he took it. If I had to guess.
It just, and again, this is probably just me pulling a Monday morning quarterback, in hindsight being 2020 and all those cliches, but it and this was, it was also weird to see Chase Elliott be so animated about it, because like, I understand why he's upset. He's probably thinking, hey, I'm taking the outside, I'm exposing myself, but I've got a teammate here, we'll run hard, but he's not going to do anything to dirty or untoward to take me out of the race. And then we obviously know what happens. And then it shows him after the race, the cameras show him talking to, and even Jeff Gluck had an alternate version of the incident on pit road immediately after the race. He gets out of the car, immediately goes to Jeff Gordon and Rick Hendrick and is talking to them, and he's very animated. We don't know quite what he's saying, but he's using his hands. He looks like an Italian grandmother talking with his hands. Looks visually pissed off. And even if we both think that Kyle Larson did anything wrong, we both can reasonably understand why Chase Elliott would be upset in that scenario. But I think the more telling thing is, from Jeff Gluck's perspective, is once Chase Elliott walked away, Jeff Gordon and Rick Hendrick just both kind of turned around, and you can see their facial expressions, and it was I think they were almost blank. They almost like seemed like they didn't really, I don't want to say they didn't care, but like it just seemed they were just less passionate about it than Chase by a fair stretch.
Well, what other guys won? Like what reason did they? No one wrecked. No one, like all four of their cars, I believe, finished the race. One of them won. Chase finished fourth. So I mean, like, what do they have to be upset about? Do they need to like massage the egos of the drivers? Probably. Like, they did have a competition meeting, on Monday, and Kyle Larson talked about it today during the Martinsville test, and said he said he did more listening than talking when it came to that. But he is
that a polite way of saying he got his ass chewed?
I don't.
Not necessarily by Jeff Gordon or Rick Hendrick, but like maybe by Chase and Alan Gustafson.
I think Chase Elliott gave his piece.
Sure he did.
But like Larson did say, like, if I'm in that position again, I'd drive more respectfully. So I mean, he did nothing wrong. Like I said, 5 laps to go, possibly the last restart. I don't think Larson led all day up to that point. So yep, like Chase Elliott clearly had the better car. It was like Elliott had the best car. Larson probably had the second best car. So yeah, he did nothing wrong, not in my opinion.
And I mean, also, especially given how, and Larson's actions are even more justified and understandable, just given how tight the playoff race is. I mean, 5 points in any other year. I mean, it's certain. More points always helps, but this year it's just so close that every point matters. I mean, we've talked about this before a couple episodes ago when we were just proposing the idea that, certain drivers, if they can't win, should just try and, jerry rig their strategy just to maximize stage points and get some playoff points that way. We haven't necessarily seen that, but, like you said, Larson hasn't won since Fontana. That was the second race of the season. He won 10 times last year. Yeah, 10 times, and he's having a really good season. I mean, he is now over in the raw points total. He overtook second place from Ryan Blaney.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's second overall in points, but he's only won 2 races all year. And again, he won 10 last year.
Yeah, he won 10 races.
Yeah, almost a third of the schedule was dominated by Kyle Larson. So, 5 points goes. Going to go a long way in this playoff series.
I would like to try and do a deep dive at some point and compare, drivers who've had double-digit win seasons, who's had the worst fall off the next year, and compare Larson to that. So in the modern era, we've had Jimmy Johnson, I think, did it once. Jeff Gordon did it twice. Dale Earnhardt did it once. Rusty Wallace did it in 92. No, 93, I think. He had one of those double-digit wins, but he didn't win the championship. So, yeah, I'd really like to do that. Who's had the worst fall off after a double-digit season. So, but anyway, Watkins Glen, they've been NASCAR returned there in 86. And this is the first time they've ran in the rain there, at least the Cup Series. The Xfinity Series did it a couple of years ago. And that was actually in the middle of the race. They started out on dries and wound up having to switch to wets for one stage. It was very, very, very short. But so this is the third Cup race in the rain. The first one was, of course, in the Roval 2 years ago, which started out wet and then eventually became dry. And then Dakota last year, which was
a disaster. An absolute disaster. And I remember thinking immediately of Coda as at the race on Sunday, as the cars were taking pace laps around the track. and then they red flagged it again because there was too much standing water.
Yeah.
And immediately, we get the
they
gripers.
learned their lesson.
Yeah, we get the
They
gripers on
absolutely
Twitter. Yeah, the gripers on Twitter were like, why don't they just go? And even some of the commentators on TV, I forget who it was, but they're like, I know the best way to get rid of standing water, just drive through it. It's like, do y'all not remember how Coda went last year? I mean, I know it wasn't like a torrential downpour at Watkins Glen the way that Coda was. I mean, Coda was just it was just like someone opened up a faucet, plus there was standing water on the track. It was just the worst. It was just those two things combined just made it the chaotic race that was. But yeah, in that moment I was like, yeah, I'm glad NASCAR's I don't want to see another race like Coda. Like, it just, that feels,
you don't want to see one car just absolutely plowing into the back of another, like what happened with Truex.
Yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous at worst and gimmicky at best. And either way, it's not what I want to see. So I was more than fine to let them. And look, they still started the race in the rain. It's not like I don't want to see racing in the rain. It's fun. It really separates the men from the boys.
And Michael McDowell got to show off some skills.
Yeah,
he's ran in the rain at Watkins Glen before in like a sports car series, something like that. And he showed him like yeah. I don't know how long did it take for McDowell to get to the lead?
It was in the first couple laps, I think.
It took the lead on lap 4.
Yeah.
So, and then he led for 8 laps. And I put this out on the Twitter. It's like, I am pretty sure that is the first time Michael McDowell has ever straight up taken the lead in a cup race under green that wasn't a super speedway race.
Yeah, or if there wasn't like some sort of pit thing going on, he led for 1 lap or something during pits. But yeah, no, it was really fun to see. And they're running in the rain on wet tires, and Michael McDowell's out front. I just texted you, chaos ? Because that's just been all we've ever really been rooting for here for the second half of the season on this show, is just whatever the most chaotic outcome is, that's what we want. As far and I was really hoping for McDowell to win this race or someone else.
I think part of the reason I'm scoring this race higher than you is because Michael McDowell was up there all day.
Yeah, like
he was top 5. He had a shot all day up until like that next to last restart, where he just got kind of gobbled up going to turn 1. But the fact that he was up there, like he had a legitimate shot at that one, that was cool. That was really cool.
When Daniel Suarez was passing him to get 5th there near the end of the race, anytime those two are on the track near each other, I always just think of that incident in Phoenix like 3 years ago when Suarez just dropped McDowell like that. Oh, it was I will always remember that moment. I'm
pretty sure Daniel Suarez has been in a couple of scuffles in his in his youth. I can't imagine Michael McDowell getting into anything resembling a fist fight in his life.
No, he seems like whenever I see Michael McDowell, he looks like an IT guy. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like he just doesn't look like he doesn't look like someone who would just like ever become like aggressive or agitated. Like he just looks like the nice cousin at the family reunion. That's what he looks like.
We kind of live in this really cool, interesting period in NASCAR where we get to see the guys who are usually, kind of vanilla, the nice guys. We get to see them pissed off, and it's like William Byron after Darlington and what his run-in with Logano, him getting out of his car and calling Logano a moron and stuff like this. Like, oh my gosh, it's scandalous. It's like this with McDowell. Joey Logano himself, he looks like the nerdiest guy on the face of the planet. Like he looks like the dad from the Calvin and Hobbes comics. Okay? Especially when he has his glasses on. He looks like the dad from the Calvin and Hobbes comic strip. But he races, he doesn't race like that. He races. I wrote about this earlier this year after the whole Darlington thing, is that Joey Logano in some ways reminds me of Dale Earnhardt. I mean, they don't have the same like personas. Like Dale Earnhardt was this blue collar, rough and tumble guy.
Oh yeah.
But they have similar driving styles. Like I'm not gonna take it from you. All right, I'm not gonna put up with it. And he can get Logano, like Earnhardt, can get into a situation with the driver and get out of his car, look at the camera, smile about it, give a quip, and you go about his day.
Yeah.
So it's not a direct comparison, but Logano does remind me of Dale Earnhardt in some ways.
And then you've got the guys like Michael McDowell that just, seem so, like, oh, gee, golly willikers about them. And again, I'm not trying to put Michael McDowell down, just like his personality, the way that he is on camera, he doesn't strike me as someone who has that competitive edge, although he clearly does. It reminds me of that tweet last season. It was DK Metcalf of the Seattle Seahawks, who's like ripped. He's got like a 14 pack almost, like he's just like nothing but muscle. And it's next to him is the place kicker for the Colts, Rodrigo Blankenship, the guy with the big rec specs and stuff, he was like a scrawny like journalism major at Georgia. And it was like, these two guys both play the same sport. It's just like that's how I kind of feel about NASCAR sometimes. Like Michael McDowell is in the same sport as Kyle Busch.
Yeah. Oh, like if you lined up every cut driver, like just like in a police lineup kind of situation, and you just like, all right, which ones would you point to? Could you point to, John? And just, they're not in fire suits or anything, they're in street clothes. Who's the one? Who are the drivers you could look at? Yeah, that guy's a race car driver.
Kyle Busch. I'd say both Busch brothers look like race car drivers. I would say Truex because the beard. If he shaved, I don't know if I would say that, but the beard is a dead giveaway. Chase with the handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
Handlebar mustache Chase.
Wait, does he still have that?
No, he's got like more of just like a regular 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay.
Blaney would if he actually was allowed to have a beard during the race season.
Corey LaJoy.
Penske, Corey LaJoy. Yep, Corey LaJoy for sure. I would think Cole Custer is just, he's like NASCAR always has like at least like one portly looking guy
who doesn't have any neck.
Yeah. I would say Cole Custer's that guy, but like that's kind of it. Like I wouldn't think Suarez is. I don't know if I would think that Austin Cindric is. Like with his super long sideburns, he looks like a bass player from like a 2000s new metal band.
I just my default image of Austin Cindric is like of him in like a sweater vest. I've never seen him in a sweater vest, but I just imagine that's my default image of him is in a sweater vest.
That, or he's like doing like anime cosplay at Gen Con or something. Like I would genuinely be down to go to Gen Con with Austin Cindric. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of. Like also just Kevin Harvick. Yeah, he looks like a NASCAR driver. But like all the guys I'm thinking of are just like mostly older. Like all these younger guys are so fresh faced and so personable.
They're under the age of 25.
Yes.
Anyway.
Real quick, how many top 10s does Michael McDowell have?
10.
Yes, he has 10. Now,
previous high was 5.
Where is he in points?
Well, he had that penalty.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the penalty. He would be higher than where he is. You're right.
Where is he?
Right now, he's 24th. He had the 100-point penalty.
I believe so.
So take away the 100-point penalty, he's in 19th. But still, for a driver that has that many top 10s, that feels pretty low. And I just pulled up his racing results for this season. If he's not finished in the top 10, he only has one top 5, but he's finished in the top 10 times this year. But he only has 4 races where he's finished between. He only has 3 top 15s. So basically, he has there's 5 races here where he finishes between 10th and 20th, which isn't much. So if he's not in the top 10,
so he's either hitting a home run for him or he's out to lunch.
Yes, yes. Like he finished 7th at Daytona, and then the next 4 races were 31st, 27th, 27th, 24th. No, 13th at Coda, then 30th, 25th, and then he rattled off all those top 10s. But then New Hampshire 28th, Michigan 28th, Richmond 29th.
So he hasn't won because he won the 500 last year, but he hasn't won this year.
No.
But he's having the best season of his career by far. 10 top, like I said, his previous career high for top tens was 5, and he now has 10. He's killing it on road courses.
And I don't see how he doesn't. I know that he's said before that he just signs 1-year deals to Front Row Motorsports, and the next year is always a question mark for him. But he's definitely earned.
Oh yeah,
earned another contract. If front row is dumb enough to let him go, he'll get a ride somewhere else next season. But because he's definitely earned it. I mean, he's definitely out driving some of the equipment that he's racing with this season.
He's out driving his teammate Todd Gilliland, who's a rookie. So, but no, he's doing except like if really the two drivers who are really like showing off what this next gen car can do to even the playing field. It's McDowell and Eric Jones.
Yes.
Eric Jones also has, I believe, 10 top 10s now.
He has 9. I'm showing 9.
Okay, 9. That's when he reaches 10. I think I tweeted this. Yeah, when he reaches 10, if he reaches 10, whatever. That will be the most top 10s for the number 43 team since AJ Allmendinger got 10 back in 2011.
Wow. That's a stat. And also I completely forgot that Allmendinger raced in the 43 car.
Well, it was only like 2 years, something like that. It wasn't long. But then Eric Almirola came around. But anyway, Watkins Glen. So this was the big weekend where we got invaded by 6 international drivers to make up 7 countries represented in the race, which is a record for the Cup Series. And the highlight was a guy named Kimi. What's his last name?
Raikkonen.
Kimi Raikkonen. The former Formula One driver in 2007 Formula One champion, made his NASCAR Cup debut. Unfortunately, he wrecked out of the race on I believe lap 45.
Yeah, the same incident with Austin Dillon and everybody. Yeah, and Ross Chastain.
So he finished 37th out of 39th, but he was there.
Yeah.
He wasn't like slinking around in the back. There was like maybe a 2-3 lap stretch where he was racing ahead of Chase Elliott and holding him back. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
He's getting it. He's going after it. So I was impressed by what Kimi was able to do in his Cup debut. What did you think?
No, I was really impressed too. Not just by how he raced, but also just how he really seemed to genuinely enjoy the NASCAR experience. He was available for media all weekend long, as Jeff Gluck alluded to on his podcast. And, I've seen this firsthand when I covered the Indy 500 in 2017. Fernando Alonso was there going for the Triple Crown. Had every, he's the big hotshot Formula One driver. He could have had every reason to sort of just kind of only do the big media and just fluff off everybody else. Like he talked to everybody, and he really seemed to soak in the experience. He loved it so much so that he tried to make the 500 2 more times. He kept coming back. He really threw himself into it with no pretensions and no ego. And the same thing happened here with Kimi. And it was really neat to see. And it was really as Gluck also alluded to on his podcast, was the fact that this was the first time that a lot of people over in Europe watched NASCAR, and they did just because of Kimi, and they got a really good race because they're really fortunate that this was a really good race. I'm glad that it was, this Watkins Glen race and not the Sonoma race, or the Indy road course necessarily. Although that would have been cool, just because then Kimi would have some experience on the road course. Granted, it was Formula One; it's a slightly different configuration from what the F1 cars ran on the track. But no, it was really neat to see. It was really cool to see. Like you said, he was up there. I think because before the wreck, he was on the similar fuel strategy as I think it was Austin Cindric. Like he was on pace to have like a top 15 finish thereabouts.
Yes. Someone asked Screechy, where do you think you would have wound up? And he said, we think we would have finished like 14th. And that's great. That's great for a one-off car where you have, just a couple training sessions, very little time, and you really have no
ideas to how other drivers around you are going to drive you or how you're necessarily going to drive them. I mean, that would have been a really cool story. But yeah, like you said, just bad luck, winds up in 37th. But I really hope he comes back. I'm looking forward to a larger Project 21 endeavor next year. I think Justin Marks said there's 6 to 8 races they're going to try.
I can't remember him ever saying a definitive number.
Is it just going to be road courses?
I hope not.
I hope not either. I mean, it's certainly an easy way to get like open wheel racers into it. But.
I think I said this last week. I expect Jimmy Johnson to be in that 91 car for at least one race.
I would expect so too.
Yeah, 600, baby.
Mark it down now. Danny McFadden predicts Jimmy Johnson.
We're getting a double, man. We're going to get one more double. So.
I would love to see that. I genuinely would. Especially given how strong Jimmy was at Indy this year. Speaking of IndyCar, I was at the race in St. Louis, and I got a NASCAR diecast. They had this antique vendor was there and just had a bunch of like mini diecasts in like a tub, and they were $5 a piece. And I got to the very bottom. There was nothing in there. Like a lot of stuff was like Die Hard. Like you had to be like a Die Hard like diecast collectible to want some of these things. Like it was like it was like Ken Schrader. Yeah, like Ernie Irvin, people like that. But then at the very bottom, I saw a Brickyard 400 logo on the back of this diecast thing, and I was like, "Oh, what could that be?" So I pulled it up, and it's the 1995 Dale Earnhardt race-winning car diecast. It was just $5, and it was like, granted, it's like one of the smaller ones. It's a 1/64 scale.
Out of the package or in the package?
It's in the package, but like the package is a little taped up, but like it's still in a package. So it's like $5. I snagged it. It's like, you're coming home with me. So, but yeah, that race was fun.
So was that your first time to Gateway?
Yes.
Okay, we've both been to Gateway this year. I went to NASCAR. You went to IndyCar. So what was just the overall experience like?
For one, it's right off the interstate, which I love. It's easy. It's easy in, easy out. And this was specifically just for IndyCar, I suppose, although I'd like to see NASCAR do this too. I wish IndyCar would go back to racing at Gateway strictly under the lights. Strictly under the lights. When they went back to Gateway at first, that race did not start till like 9:00 Indy time. So 8:00 their time, 6:00 West Coast. And for some reason, I know they moved it up because of weather and everything, but the race was scheduled to start at like 5:30 local time. Why? Like, it's so hard for Indy cars to pass each other now with the aero screen. And at the 500, it's different because that track is so big and they're going so fast. It's a little easier to get some runs if you've got a good enough car. But at St. Louis, it's a flat track. It's not 2.5 miles. It's 1.25 miles. You don't have nearly enough runway on the straightaways to get a run so once the rain came and kind of washed away a lot of gunk off the track, and it was nighttime by the time the race restarted, those last 40 laps were great. Like the track was cool. The track was cool, promoted better racing, and it was a lot racier. It felt like two completely different races. I was just like, man, can we please like why are you starting a race at 6:00 at like 5:30 on a Saturday? Like, are you trying to go for the coveted 2:30 West Coast time slot? Like, give me a break. And it's not like, and again, it's a Saturday night. You don't have to make room for NASCAR. It's not football season. There's nothing else going on. There's no NBA going on. Like give yourself a better time slot. I don't know why NBC made that call. But in general, yes, I would absolutely go back. I just wish it was more of a night race. I really enjoy because I love, and again, it's unusual for me, although I know it's for most race fans, it's a common thing. It's unusual for me to go to a track where I can see the whole race because at the 500 for Indy, it's just, you can't see all the way around the track because it's so massive, but it's always nice to be like, oh yeah, I can see turn 3 now. So, but no, yes, in a very broad sense, I like the facility. I like that track. I would gladly go back. I definitely want to catch a cup race there. I would love to see cup race there at night too. Why not make that a Saturday night race during the summertime?
Ratings. Saturday night race, like
I know,
like the Richmond was daytime Sunday this year. It was up over the Saturday night race at Richmond last year. So it's it's the world we unfortunately live in.
But it would be such a better race. But I get it. I get
No,
it. They
like
do what they got to do.
over the last 10 years, night racing, at least in NASCAR, the quality of racing at night has dropped dramatically. It's daytime has provided better races, which is just a complete shift.
Yeah,
from 10 years ago. It's like we need more night races, and no, actually, not anymore.
no. We solved that problem. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things. And after the race, I got to go on the track, and I brought home pieces of IndyCar tire rubber that were still on the track. So
cool. So
it was very sticky.
The guy who finished second, the rookie,
David Malukas. Yes,
had never heard of him before the rain delay. Had no idea who he was. And then here he comes, charging through the pack, getting past
Scott McLaughlin,
and then if he'd had maybe a couple more laps, maybe.
Yeah, he could have had something for Newgarden there at the end. No, I like David Malukas. He's a rookie, drives for Dale Coyne. Dale Coyne is the smallest team in IndyCar. To give you an idea of how small they are, they partner with Rick Ware Racing to field a second car.
Okay.
That's who Takuma Sato's drive is. It's Dale Coyne partnership with Rick Ware. But they have so many drivers come and go. It seems like they have a different lineup of drivers every year or every other year, but they always are competitive in the equipment that they have. And their engineers are always top notch. Their mechanics and everyone that works behind the scenes over there just really seems to know how to get the most out of their equipment. And Sato was running in the top 10 all day. I think both Dale Coyne cars came in the top 5 or 6 in that race. And I love seeing that. I love seeing, here's a rookie from the smallest team passing Penske cars and having a chance to possibly go up there and contend if he gets a couple extra laps. So no, that was really, really cool. And I got to get on the track. And by the time fans were allowed on the track, most of the Indy cars were back in the garage area, but his car was still on pit lane. Excuse me, as I hit my microphone, his car was still on pit lane. Because he was still doing so many interviews because he was the story of the race in a way. And Dale Coyne was down there as well, looking over the car, and a bunch of fans were, getting pictures of Dale Coyne and stuff. It was fun. It was a really fun night. And yes, I would gladly go back to Gateway.
Well, like
my favorite thing about Gateway, by the way, or just St. Louis in general, is Busch Light is on tap everywhere. That is my kind of town. That is my kind of town. I would gladly live in St. Louis just for the Busch Light on tap. So I got a big 32-ounce commemorative cup full of Busch Light and brought it home.
Did they have Busch Apple? Do they have Busch Apple?
They did not have Busch Apple, but I have a whole fridge full in my garage of Busch Apple. I'm loaded up I look like a doomsday Busch Light apple prepper. So
yeah, I think.
Yes. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
But like that rookie's run, David, how do you pronounce his name?
Malukas.
Like, no, that's definitely a run that will get you noticed with other teams.
Yep.
Going forward. So I'm sure other teams along pit road are like, make a note of this kid. Let's follow back with him.
In 2020, the rookie that drove for them was Alex Palou, and next year he signed with Ganassi and won the championship. And he's still in hot water now for obvious reasons. But Dale Coyne finds they are really good at doing two things. One, finding rookies that can come in and help them compete right away. Or they're really good at finding guys who are on the back end of their career, but still are competitive in those cars, like Sebastian Bourdais, Takuma Sato. I mean, last year they had Romain Grosjean. And I think Grosjean had a better year last year in a Rick Ware car than he's had this year in an Andretti car, which is insane to say. But no, props to Dale Coyne. That was really fun to see.
Has Rick Ware won an IndyCar race yet?
No, he would have come close with Romain Grosjean at the Indy Road Course last year in May. Grosjean won the pole, led a bunch of laps, but he got passed by VK on a pitch strategy. He came in second that race. He has not won, but that was as close as he's come.
If it does ever happen, it's just gonna be so weird to think Rick Ware, IndyCar winning team owner.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a thing now.
Yep.
So it's. He's also in sports cars, I believe. So
I think so.
It's Rick Ware is just a very interesting test case.
If I was Rick Ware, and again, I don't. If I see all the money that I'm spending on NASCAR to come in like 35th every week, why don't I just take all that money and go to IndyCar, where I'll get a lot bigger bang for my buck?
Yeah, I don't.
Why not?
I don't know what goes on in his head. So
I wouldn't presume to know either. I don't even know what's going on in my head half the time, let alone a NASCAR team owner. But why not? Anyways, I don't really have anything else left to really talk about Watkins Glen unless you.
all right, before we move on, let's do Jeff Gluck good race poll.
Yes.
Versus Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
We need to make some sort of like transition music into this. I don't know what it would be. So yes, on the Jeff Gluck good race poll this week, for Watkins Glen, the race got a 92.7% saying yes, it was a good race, which we round up to 93, and that's the highest score of the year, knocking off the Auto Club race from February. So 93%. Jeff and I have picked movies on Rotten Tomatoes, and we will now force each other to guess which is higher, the race score or the movie score.
Okay.
All right.
I believe you went first. No, I went first last time, so now it's your turn to go first this week.
So I'm guessing or I'm quizzing.
I'll quiz you first. You first. Okay. So I have yet to pick a comic book movie, and I try to avoid it. But for this one, I figured, why the hell not? So you're probably going to think I'm going to pick one movie, but I'm going to zigzag and pick a different comic book movie. They came out in the same year, though. So my all-time favorite movie is The Dark Knight, but I'm not going to pick The Dark Knight. Instead, I'm going to pick a movie that came out a couple weeks earlier, and that was Iron Man.
That was 2 months earlier. 2 months earlier.
The first Iron Man, kicking off the whole MCU universe. We had no idea what an extended cinematic universe even was. We had Jeff Bridges eating pizza and paralyzing people.
So sum up a movie in a bad way.
Jeff Bridges eats pizza and paralyzes people. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's damn. I wish I would have thought of that for Twitter. Anyways.
Okay, so Iron Man, 2008. Oh boy.
Higher or lower than a 93?
Lower.
Deep and meditative thought. That is incorrect, sir. Iron Man has a 94.
That's too generous to that movie.
It's the same score as The Dark Knight. Iron Man has a 94 at 281 reviews.
Hey, well, both movies have third act problems. So hey.
Dark Knight has a 94 on much higher reviews. It has 345 reviews. It's got about 50 more reviews than Iron Man.
I want, sometimes I just want to turn this into a pop culture podcast, because I really wanted someone to do like a deep dive into the 2008 summer movie season back when it was like, the anniversary a few years ago. Because that summer like just changed the course.
It ruled
of movies, the movie industry. Because you had Iron Man, which kicked off the MCU. You had The Dark Knight, which really having those two movies that summer, there's a before and after. And before being a self-identifying geek nerd or whatever, who's really into Star Wars and all that stuff, into superheroes, it was the whole comic book stuff still wasn't treated as like this great respectful piece of pop culture that everyone loved. It was still kind of felt like it was on the outskirts to a degree.
Yeah, you definitely had like your figureheads like Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man that got their own like legitimate franchises, but everything else kind of felt like a little wishy-washy. Like even like the first X-Men movie feels that way. The second one really upped the game, but like by and large, that first X-Men trilogy feels second rate. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Well, I'm just talking about like the way like people like me were like kind of like treated by society. It's like, oh, that guy, he likes superheroes and stuff.
Oh yeah, nerd culture. It was
still like that. Culture. But that summer changed. That was like, oh, this is now cool. It was like they're like dark. I went and saw The Dark Knight at midnight. The night it was released. there was lines out the door.
Yes.
I
remember not even knowing that there was a superhero called Iron Man. And I went and saw it on a whim. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And like 30 minutes in, I was like, oh my, this rules. They nailed this. I'm an Iron Man fan now. I don't even know that this dude existed like 3 weeks ago. So,
and everyone forgets the Incredible Hulk came out that summer.
Yes.
In between Iron Man and The Dark Knight, it came out in June.
And we also got Wall-E as well.
Yeah. Yep. Wall-E, Tropic Thunder. That was like the kind of like the cap to the summer that summer.
Yes.
I think that came out in August.
Yeah,
but even going back to the beginning of the year, Cloverfield came out in January.
Yep.
Which was its own like event. It was just very weird. I actually saw that in Hollywood. I was on a school trip to Los Angeles the week it came out, and so on the Hollywood Strip in front of the Chinese Theater, they had a headless Statue of Liberty out in front. And that movie was like the culmination of like a whole year-long viral marketing campaign that hasn't been touched since. Like no one's even attempted to do that. Well, actually, Cloverfield and The Dark Knight both had their own like year-long viral marketing campaigns that were really good. That summer also had Indiana Jones 4, which I'm the only person on the face of the planet
I forgot about that movie.
I'm the only person on the face of the planet that enjoys that movie. Does it have problems? Absolutely. But it was Indiana Jones in theaters. I got to see it. Loved it.
I haven't seen it since. Yeah, I haven't seen it since theaters.
Get Smart came out that summer. It was just a great year.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall was like the really big rom-com.
I thought that came out in like 2007.
No, it was 2008. I'm looking at 2008 Wikipedia right now.
All right. Okay. All right. But no, that was just a great year. Anyway, now it's my turn to turn the tables on you, Mr. John.
Oh, don't forget about Speed Racer.
I didn't watch that until a few years ago.
I never saw it. I know it's definitely a cult film. Oh, we got the first Kung Fu Panda.
Never saw it.
Oh man. And then Hancock came out.
Oof.
Mamma Mia came out. Oh my god, that movie was everywhere.
That came out the same weekend as Dark Knight. I remember it was the other movie.
Yeah, that was for all the aunts and divorced moms. Oh man, what Pineapple Express? What a year. Holy crap. Then Tropic Thunder. Oh my god, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, yes. My turn. Quiz me. Yes.
Okay. So I kept it to the racing theme, but also the New York theme.
I tried to, but I thought about doing the New York thing, but I was like, I'll give Daniel a week off from my shenanigans.
It's a racing movie, with a scene that takes place at Watkins Glen, in I believe the rain.
Is it Cars 3? I'm joking.
No. There was a rain race at Watkins Glen, I believe, and like Sunday's race, features F1 drivers. So, Mr. John, which is higher, the Jeff Gluck good race poll for Watkins Glen, or the Rotten Tomatoes score for Ron Howard's 2013 racing drama Rush?
Oh man, I've wanted to see this movie so badly. I haven't seen it. I've heard nothing but good things. I've really been trying to get to it, especially since I graduated law school and passed the bar and I have my life back and I have free time now. I actually have a digital copy of it. I just have not watched it. Maybe I'll do that tonight. Anyways, oh man, that's really close.
Here's the thing. Both the critic score and the audience score are tied for this movie.
Oh, really?
It's a consensus.
It's the same for The Dark Knight. It's both 94. It's a consensus then. Damn. 93 is such a weird number to have to guess around. I'm going to guess, if I get this, we're tied 5-5. And I've gotten the last 3, I think. No, I've got the last 2. Just make it 3 in a row. If I'd seen it, I would have a better grasp of where to go.
I figured you'd seen it. So
I hadn't seen it yet. Oh man. I'm going to say it's got a 92. I'm gonna go it's one lower.
Final answer.
Yes.
The movie score is lower, but it's 88%.
It's 88. Oh wow. Wow. I thought it was in the 90s. I knew that it had a good score. But look at that. Oh, we're tied. 5-5. I'm on a roll.
So
Three in a row.
Rush, starring Chris Hemsworth in his early bank cashing in on that Thor success.
Yes.
This came out two years later after Thor. Oh yeah, it's got the guy who played the bad guy in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
James Spader?
No, not James Spader. Not Age of Ultron. Civil War, right? Yeah, Civil War.
Daniel Bruhl. Yes.
Yes, right.
Yes, he was also in Inglourious Bastards. Yes. I know who you're talking about.
This was an Avengers type movie.
So is Daytona going to have 100% this week? I'm so excited for this race. I really am. I really think this race is going to be one for the ages. There's so much riding on this race for so many different drivers.
It's either going to be epic or it's going to be embarrassing. I don't know which one.
I think we're going to get a race like last year where everyone behaves for most of the race because they know that because there's so much at stake for so many drivers. I think it'll be like, how like so many things try to get into a funnel that they all kind of just simultaneously clog up the drain. Like that's kind of how
turn one at the Indianapolis road course.
Yeah. So I feel like the first two stages will just be like that. Everyone is being aggressive for sure, but not doing anything necessarily crazy because they all want to be there for those last several laps. I think stage 3 is where things start to come off the rails. I think that we're going to get a mirror image of last year's late race.
Like I've said it before, like last year's race, I thought it was just going to be absolutely insane, but they were pretty respectful for the entire race until the last 10 laps. And then what usually happens.
Yep.
But even then, there wasn't one playoff spot on the line last year.
Right.
I don't know how many were. I don't remember how many were on the line at this point last year, but there wasn't just one.
There's just one. Exactly.
And there's 15 drivers who will be trying to get into that spot. Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Jones, Eric Almirola, Austin Dillon, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Justin Haley, Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cole Custer, Brad Keselowski, Harrison Burton, Ty Dillon, and Todd Gilliland. All those drivers can win, and they are in. The only full-time drivers who can't because they're outside the top 30 are Corey LaJoie and Cody Ware. So of those drivers, John, who do you think has the best shot at putting on that Cinderella slipper and getting them into that Sweet 16?
Oh God, let me just draw a name out of a hat because that's just the way that these races at Daytona seem to go. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I know that for my chaos pick, I took Bubba Wallace. And he absolutely can win this race. He's finished second. He's finished second at Daytona. He won Talladega last year. He's a very good super speedway racer. I believe your chaos pick was Austin Dillon, who again can win at these races.
I don't remember.
He can win at these races. Eric Jones has won at Daytona before.
Eric Jones was leading coming to the checkered flag at Talladega earlier this year.
Yep.
He just had he was too far ahead and he got swamped.
Yep. Ryan Blaney won this race last year. Michael McDowell's obviously won the Daytona 500. Even Justin Haley has won. I mean, granted, that was a rain-shortened race, but
he's really good in restricted plate racing, at least in the Xfinity series. He's like lights out typically.
Yeah. I mean, and even Eric Almirola and Ricky Stenhouse. I mean, every one of these drivers, you could all reasonably see winning. The only driver who I don't want to say would surprise me because obviously I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame driver one day, but I would sort of be surprised if Martin Truex Jr. won this race.
Well, he's never won a super speedway race.
He's never won a super speedway race.
In Cup. He won at least one in Xfinity, I believe. But yeah, he came close in 2016. Denny Hamlin barely beat him to the line. Truex won both stages at Daytona, in the Daytona 500 earlier this year. But man, Brad Keselowski's in that mix. He's one of these drivers. We saw how he raced in February because he's kind of desperate to be able to get a Daytona 500 win, and that was before his penalty. And so this is after that huge penalty he had following the Atlanta race, I believe.
Here are the last couple Daytona finishes for Truex in the fall race, not the 500.
Yeah.
Well, last year, 29th. 2020 came in 4th. Remember last year when he had like 6 straight races where the worst he finished was 4th? He went third, second, 4th.
Wow.
That was 2020. And then, so he did 29th and then 4th. And then he went to 22nd and then 2nd. This was 2018. Then 34th, 29th, 38th. It just all kind of compounds from there. So he's always seems to be involved in some sort of accident if he's not running well. And that's just, you could say that about that's just the way super speedway racing is now. I mean, Cody Ware had a top 10 at the Daytona 500 this year, did he not? Or maybe he came in the top 10 at the fall race last year. Not Cody Ware. Was BJ McLeod? His best finish is 9th at a super speedway race or something.
Yeah, BJ McLeod, I think. Is
yeah,
thinking.
I mean, sometimes it's not the fastest; it's just the luckiest. It's just the guy that manages to avoid everyone else's mistakes who can be there at the end. So
people want to say that anyone can win super speedway races, but really, when you look at the numbers, the people who are finishing up front at Daytona or Talladega are the guys who are finishing up front on a regular basis.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's not this talent does not exist on an island. I'm just saying, it's these sorts of races that lend themselves to chaotic finishes that allow for those surprises.
Yeah,
that would be a Cinderella story for somebody else, but absolute heartache and devastation for another driver. So, you don't get this sort of emotion for Phoenix or Richmond. So, no, I genuinely don't know what to expect. I don't think anyone does. I don't even think the drivers do. I would wager that they're on their best behavior till the end. That's when things come off the rails. But as far as who's going to win, I don't know.
I want to believe that, but like I said, there's one spot. There's one spot. And I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're actually. It's just and all the stuff that had to happen for this to even be a possibility.
Yes.
I started writing a column today about this before I switched it, talking about Kyle Busch and his whole situation, which we should probably talk about. But starting with the Daytona 500, the Austin Cindric crossed the finish line first, 0.036 seconds in front of Bubba Wallace, who was second. The other guys who finished in the top 5 are Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, and Eric Almirola. Since that race, Austin Cindric hasn't won. Ryan Blaney hasn't won. Bubba Wallace hasn't won. Chase Briscoe has won, Phoenix, and Eric Almirola hasn't won. So that's 4 or 5 guys who, if one thing changes coming out of turn 4, we're having a completely different conversation. And then you have Bristol on dirt. Also, you had Reddick going for his first career win, Briscoe going for win number 2. Neither of them get it. Who gets it? Kyle Busch.
Right. Yes.
If Kyle Busch doesn't get that win, we're talking about 2 open spots. It's or Talladega. Eric Jones is coming down with the checkered flag, leading. Could have been his first win. Instead, everything went haywire in the tri-oval, and it's Ross Chastain getting win number 2. Yep. It's
if Bubba Wallace has a better restart at Michigan.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Star Wars, A New Hope, mixed in with Rogue One, the prequel. So many things had to happen. So many dominoes had to fall in order for Luke Skywalker to be able to get that torpedo into the exhaust port to blow up the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
And so many things had to go in a certain direction for us to have one playoff spot going into Daytona.
I really I really hope that this. I don't know. Like, I would be a-okay if this sort of like chaotic season was like the new norm for NASCAR. I'd be a-okay with this.
I don't think so. Because
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, like, I would be a-okay if this happened every year.
Oh,
like,
but
this is awesome.
I would too, but I think just so much was unknown about the next gen car that caused this to happen.
Yes,
on some levels. So I don't think this is going to happen again. At least not for a long time. It's just, but I'm glad it's happening. Like, so yeah. Daytona's gonna be wild.
Yes,
So,
and it's a Saturday night race.
please don't rain. Please don't.
Hey, if it does, they at least give themselves Sunday to get through it. But my expectations are no expectations. This is going to be a shootout, and it's only 160 laps. It's not 500 miles. It's 400. So it's a lot shorter of a runway to get a whole lot more done here. I guess I'll just ask this instead of we obviously made our chaos picks. I've got Bubba, you got Austin Dillon. Do you think we get a new winner this season? Not like new first-time career winner, but just like a new winner for 2022.
Yeah.
Or do you think it's somebody else, somebody who's already won?
Are you talking about this weekend, or we talking about just through the end of the season?
No, for Daytona, is the winner at Daytona going to be a new winner for 2022, someone who hasn't been in victory lane yet this season, or is it going to be someone who's already taken the checkered flag this year?
There are so many good potential winners that among the crop left. I think someone new does win. I think
I do too. Of all the names,
Keselowski, Stenhouse, McDowell, Jones, Almirola. Yeah, there's so many guys who have shown that they can win this race. So it's gonna happen. There's gonna be 16. There's gonna be 16 winners.
Of the names that we've mentioned, I'll just go ahead and be bold and make a pick here. I will pick Blaney to win. Back against the wall. Penske's always pretty good here. I mean, hell, the year that McDowell won the 500, he was in third when Logano and Keselowski took each other out. And they just won the 500 this year, and Blaney had a chance to win again this year. Penske was running 1-2 to the finish, 2 straight years. So I will pick Blaney. Although I say that, and he'll be involved in some 58 car pileup with 10 laps to go, and they have to get Dale Jr. out of the booth to go run some cars just to finish this race for everybody. So, seriously though, Blaney.
Okay, all right, and I'm gonna go. I'm going Chris Buescher.
Okay,
Buescher won his qualifying race at the 500 back in February. I'm gonna go Chris Buescher.
Yeah, fair enough.
Gosh, I want to know what happens if it comes down to it and it's like Buescher and Keselowski. What? Oh my
god. Boss man versus the paid employee. What happens points wise if Ty Gibbs wins? Like, how is that? Because I know that Kurt Busch has locked himself in, assuming he comes back. He's not going to be in this race. He made that press release. He wasn't going to be in the last 2 races. The first race from the playoffs would then be Darlington, Labor Day weekend. Assuming
if a non-full-time driver wins, that's what you're asking.
No, what would happen if Ty Gibbs wins? Like, points wise, what does that mean for Kurt Busch? Like, specifically Ty Gibbs, because he's in that 45. Does he get
nothing?
Nothing. He gets no points for that.
No,
okay.
he's genuinely curious. He's running for Xfinity points.
Ty Gibbs is running for Xfinity points?
Yeah.
So if he wins the Cup race,
nothing for him.
Nothing happens. Okay.
The owners, as much. It had like an impact on like owner points, but no.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So
like Scott Miller said on Sirius XM NASCAR radio this morning that if the waiver for Kurt Busch will extend into like the first round of the playoffs, so Kurt's good.
Okay,
he should be good. So he's fine.
I figured as much, but I was just genuinely curious. So okay, Yeah. I wish tomorrow was Saturday. So
Well, I will be covering the race. Oh,
are you
I
gonna
will
be there?
Yep, I will be there for FrenchRace.com. I fly in Friday,
Nice.
and then I'll fly back out Monday. So if it does rain and they do have to push it to Sunday, I'll still get to be there.
Is it supposed to rain Saturday night?
It's Florida. It's
I know it always like rains there at least once a day. Let's look at Daytona weather forecast for Saturday. Right now, as we record this, the temperature is going to be a high of 87, precipitation of 60%. But it could just be a spot up shower. Who knows? And things cool off. And is that a race that starts when it's still daylight?
the sun's still kind of up. Yeah.
Okay. I would wager maybe it's just a pop-up shower. That's just the way that Florida seems to be. For Sunday, it's 88 for precipitation at 60%. So I think it's just accounting for a stray shower. So we'll see. Either way, hope you're safe. Definitely look forward to seeing your coverage. So
thanks. So I almost said it earlier. Speaking of Ryan Blaney, but we got kind of Ryan Blaney is one of the drivers that's featured in the upcoming Race for the Championship documentary series that will premiere on USA Network on September 1st, which will be next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday, if you're listening to this. And I got to watch the first 2 episodes of that show last night, thanks to some screeners that I got to watch. And I'm happy to report it's really good.
it looks good.
It's not Life in the Fast Lane with Austin Dillon, or however, it's not that. It is a respectful, serious, inside look at the season that is the 2022 NASCAR Cup season. It's the first episode features Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, and who was the third? Ryan Blaney, right?
I don't know. You saw it, not me.
Blaney's in the second one. But yeah, Kyle Larson and Joey Logano, they're among the guys who are featured in the first episode. The second episode is very interesting because it looks at Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, and Corey LaJoie, and it's a very good look at what the different career paths have been for 2 second-generation drivers. Chase Elliott, son of Bill Elliott, Ryan Blaney, son of Dave Blaney, and Corey LaJoie, son of 2-time Xfinity Series champion Randy LaJoie. So seeing their different station in the NASCAR Cup season is very interesting. With the Logano episode, you even get a little bit of a peek at what because this starts with Clash Week, the week leading up to the Clash, and then goes on here. And that week, Logano and his wife were expecting another child. So while he's prepping for this race, he's kind of like stressing out over, oh, I'm about to have a kid. Will I even get to beat the race or whatever? So it's all very interesting. It's all very good. I just wish it wasn't airing on USA Network.
I mean, where else would it be?
Put it on NBC. Put it on the main thing. I wish, because this is everyone wanted NASCAR to get their own Drive for Survive thing, like F1. And this is what that's supposed to be, but it's on a cable network that's in roughly 85 million homes. A network that's a TV partner of NASCAR. So already this is just a channel that's just being programmed for the people who are already inside the NASCAR bubble. There's very little chance this show is going to penetrate outside it.
Well, I just looked at NBC's Thursday night lineup, and it's just all Law and Order all the time. So that's probably that's why it's going to be on USA. So
yeah, I just want this, because like I said, this is a respectful look at the sport. I want people who aren't familiar with the sport to watch this. So,
right, I do too.
It's just I feel like they're already losing by it being on this network. Unfortunately,
I agree. It is nice to see a respectful, serious look at a sport like this, and especially because some of the complaints that we've levied at some of these pre-race coverage shows, especially Fox, and some of the things that they do on that show, and just how gimmicky and watered down they make the sport seem. I know that's not a weekly thing for them necessarily. Like, there have been some genuinely moving things that I've seen on Fox Sports pre-race show. One in particular was when Daniel Suarez met a child with autism. That was back in like 2019 or 2018. It was the year that he drove for Stuart Haas. So, I mean, they've done some genuinely good work on that station. I'm not trying to say everything they do is bad, and that people over there don't work hard, but it just seems to be that's the one that most people rag on. But it's nice to see that this is a thing. I'm glad it's there, and I'm glad it's not hokey. Like you said, I'm glad that this sport is being treated in a way that is deserving of its upper echelon status as far as auto racing in this country. And I remember when. What did Dale Earnhardt Jr. say in his podcast? I hate it when our sport's kind of treated, like a hee-haw thing. Yeah. And, we're supposed to be warriors and gladiators, I think is the language that he used. It's sincere. And it's definitely going to show.
Well, Dale Jr. was an executive producer on this.
There you go.
So
there you go.
He had input.
There you go.
So, but no, it's
my
man. The first episode, I tweeted this yesterday, features the coolest use of a drone I have ever seen.
Speaking of, like, as it pertains to what, like, just give us a don't spoil it, but like, what's a hint?
They use a drone to basically give you a tour of a Cup Series team's campus.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can see it's taking you outside, inside buildings, inside the shop, and then you're going into their own like scanner, like the one they actually have the track. They also have one. So you're going through this, and that's cool. It is the coolest use of a drone I have ever seen.
Your drone comment reminded me of some of the camera work we saw at Watkins Glen. I loved the camera angle on the bus stop, where the camera is like going sideways along the like perpendicular or parallel, to the cars on the bus stop. And you really see like how fast that bus stop is. Cause like when it's just headlong, you see them slowing down and going through and kind of, maneuvering their way around those tight turns. But then when you see that when the camera is moving with the car, you see how much speed and momentum they're carrying through that part of the track. I loved it. I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was great. I can't remember if they did it last year or not. Maybe they did, and I just wasn't on this podcast yet to think about it. But I loved it every time they went to that camera angle. And I wish that there was a more inventive way to do something like that that's similar. I know they have the drone. The drone doesn't quite do it for me because it has to be so far away from the track. You really see a lot of grass and then some cars off to the side just kind of blurring by. There was some drone coverage for turn 1 and 2 and 3 at the road course in Indy that I thought looked kind of decent. But this camera at Watkins Glen, that was awesome. And I would really like to see more innovative camera styles trying to be used. And I know that Watkins Glen's a road course. The cars slow down enough for the cameras to match the speed of the car. But
I know, I think they tried that rail cam at Daytona one year, that like down the backstretch, I think.
Yeah,
but no, like, I also loved that camera. Gosh, like Fox overdid their drone use.
Yes.
And their onboard cameras. NBC Sports overdoes it with helicopter shots of racing action, because it's usually just far back enough you can't really tell who's who.
Yeah.
So, but they got it right with that rail camera. Watkins Glen for sure.
Yep, that was great. We are fans. Look at us being fans of cameras on a racing show. Yeah, I've made my peace with everything. Unless there's something else you want to talk about, sir.
But yeah, the race for the championship that premieres September 1st, Thursday, September 1st. So check it out. Yeah, that's all I got. This was fun. Another great episode. Be sure to tune in to Daytona this weekend. The race is Saturday night. Up until about yesterday, I thought the race was Sunday. So don't make my mistake. It's Saturday on NBC. So
wait, I thought we were going to Bristol.
Oh, that's right.
The Chase Elliott comment.
I didn't catch that until later on social media where they say, like Nate
Ryan. No, I remember hearing it in real time. It's like,
I didn't catch
happy for Kyle Larson, good team win. Happy for Hendrick, team win. On to Bristol next week. I was like, Chase, are you that mad? Yeah, really, really looking forward to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Bristol at the Glen.
I miss the days when it was just the Pepsi 400, not the Diet Coke Zero presented by whatever.
Oh, the
Like,
worst names were like those years at the Brickyard where it was like
oh god,
the Big Machine Vodka Brickyard at the 400 brought to you by Florida Georgia Line. It's like, why is
honoring such and such soldier,
honoring such and such soldier? It's like, why does this need to feel like a Fallout Boy song title? Because like some of their songs are like 40 words long. Like, what is this? Is this a race or a Fallout Boy song? But anyways,
but hey, give Pepsi credit. They never called it the Diet Pepsi 400. They just called it the Pepsi 400.
Yep.
So
It's called Synergy, the Coke Zero Sugar. I don't know anyone that drinks a Coke Zero Sugar. But granted, I don't drink caffeine. So anyways.
That's why the race is called that, because they got to promote that brand.
Well, a lot of good it's doing. Anyways.
All right. I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you again for listening. You can email the show at danielmcfadden@gmail.com. Subscribe to the YouTube page that you're maybe watching this on, youtube.com/DanielMcFadden. Follow me on Twitter at Daniel McFadden. John, where can they find you?
I'm at Twitter and Instagram at John Law Filet. I don't really tweet as much just because I've got my attorney job, so I gotta present myself in a
busy defending the people.
I'm defending the people. This was my second day on the job, and I've already read cases about child molestation.
Okay, and with
that, we're done.
And have a great week, everyone. This is god. Okay, I'm editing that out, so I'm not even okay. Start.
I'm sorry, I didn't think you'd react that way. Anyways,
John, where can they find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at John Waffle.
All right, cool. Anyway, this has been Dropping the Hammer with Daniel McFadden. Have a great week. Enjoy Daytona. Talk to you guys next week.
I'm sorry. You just sped walk through that redo so fast. John, where can they find you? All right, see you next time. Bye. Oh, that was good. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were going to react that way. But yeah, they brought me a box of cases.
I don't want the words.
No, I get it. I understand. You don't want the word child. You don't want the word child or molestation used in your podcast in that way, at least when they're in tandem with each other. So
We're still